Hi, everyone. Great to have you with us for the latest edition of the Knicks in 6. I'm Bill Pidto. Always a pleasure to be joined by Monicc and McNutt. Monicc, it's great to see you as we wrap up the regular season. I want to remind everybody in the playoffs, MSG Network is your home for pre- and post-game coverage of all the games that we broadcast and post-game coverage of all the games that are on national TV. And Monicc, as we look toward the playoffs, we're going to wrap up the regular season with our top 6 surprises regarding the team and or its players. Number 1 goes to you. What or who do you have?
I have to start with the way that this team finished down the stretch in that regular season, including the 9-game win streak, the 3-3 West Coast road streak that really should have been 4-2, so close in that matchup with the Lakers. But then overall down the stretch going 16-4 to finish the regular season and clinching that 4th spot in the playoffs, baby. I just think the focus of this group has been tremendous. And when you look at that 9-game win streak in particular, there aren't many contending teams that jump out outside that win over the Lakers over that course. But I think the focus and the energy that we saw, the national attention that this team started to garner during that stretch, we tried to tell them in advance, Pidto. They just wouldn't listen.
Monicc, the Knicks finished up 16-4, remarkable final 20 games. And a lot of that had to do with the defense, which was a staple all year. I want to give props out to Nerlens Noel. Who would have thought that with Mitchell Robinson out, that Noel would be such a force on D? He's second, Monicc, in the league in blocks per game. And of late, he's been blocking shots. He's been making steals. Against Boston, he had 3 blocks and 3 steals. The defense is the anchor for Tom Thibodeau's team. And Nerlens Noel, 1-year deal, making only $5 million, one of the great values in the league. He has been surprising, and he's been phenomenal.
I love that one, Pidto. And I know it's a bit of a stretch. I heard one of the national analysts say, Jim Jackson actually say he didn't think that Noel was an all defensive type guy. But when you look at the collective of what this defense has done in terms of holding teams to one of the lowest points per game and field goal percentage and from 3, I think you got to have at least a conversation, right? Like, I know he's a bit of an unorthodox name, but he anchored this defense in so many ways. So I love that one for sure. All right, but you know me, back in my day, I was a 3-point shooter, so I love some 3-point shooting. And I love improvement from the arc. Last year, I can remember RJ as a rookie, got to figure out a way to get him to be able to knock down the long ball to keep defenses honest. 32% last year. 40% from 3 this year, and was cashed from the corner multiple times this season in big time moments. I love the improvement in RJ's game. We knew how well he was able to finish in the paint and through contact, but adding that 3, I think, has been a big deal for his overall game and for what this team needed this year.
The Knicks as a team, surprise number 2 for me. How about the way that they've improved their 3-point shooting? They finished the regular season, Monicc, 3rd best in the league in 3-point shooting percentage after being awful during the early part of the season. You put that together with the defense, I think that's the biggest reason why they were so good down the stretch. And Mike Breen's made the point that with the pandemic, not a lot of distractions, the team really had nothing to do but practice, and the practice made perfect because, you know, they practice that shooting all the time, and the statistics here, 3rd overall in the league in 3-point shooting, just remarkable.
Talk to me nice, as we say, Pidto. It's funny that I love that point by Breen, but I can remember having this conversation with Wally at the beginning of the season. Would an empty garden allow for focus, or would it allow for distractions? And not just the garden, but all of the things through the course of the pandemic, this team has really locked in. All right, I got to get to 2 names that I've been very, very impressed with, surprised by. It is our all-NBA team member, should be, and Julius Randle, who's just had an incredible season. I mean, the numbers bear it out. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists per game. And then I love Derrick Rose, giving us vintage Derrick Rose, but with a twist in terms of what his body is capable of now and what this team actually needs from him. Almost 15 points per game from him, 3 rebounds per game, and 4 assists. So those 2 guys, Julius obviously has been the banner, the name on the banner, and he's worn all of the attention on his shoulders so well, stepped up to the challenge, not just in terms of production, but as a leader. But I love D Rose. I mean, D Rose, Taj, those guys give this team a savvy veteran edge. And it's just been stirred up so perfectly, Pidto.
And the role players. I mentioned Nerlens Noel. Alec Burks deserves a mention, but I also want to specifically point out Reggie Bullock.
Yeah.
Bullock is a starter who had a lot of injury problems last year, really didn't make much of an impact. But where would they be, Monicc, without the 3-point shooting of Reggie Bullock? He seems to be Julius Randle's most favorite target. Randle will draw the double team, and it always seems to go to Reggie Bullock. He's having almost a career year, averaging almost 11 points per game. He's been money around 40% from downtown. He's Tom Thibodeau's 3-and-D. I don't think anybody saw this from Reggie Bullock, but he has been fantastic, and yet another surprise on this surprising team.
I'm just so excited, Pidto. I cannot wait for us to jump into the playoffs. And, we talked about a lot about players and about team things, but I think we would be remiss if we didn't throw in this extra lob to our Coach of the Year candidate in Tom Thibodeau, who just brought an identity to this squad, put these guys in position to be successful, streamlined it in so many ways, and just got complete buy-in. Like, he's done a masterful job orchestrating this incredible season.
How can Tom Thibodeau not be Coach of the Year, Monicc? To me, it's one of the most remarkable stories in New York sports history, what's happened with this team, and this coaching job has been that good.
This was a team that was picked in the bottom of the Eastern Conference, and they finished 4th in the conference.
All right, as always, Monicc, great to see you. Surprise after surprise after surprise. We are gearing up for the playoffs. Thanks for checking us out here on Knicks and Six.